Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Orthodoxy Q&A. So, Presbytera, wait, it's not Presbytera. We have a special guest tonight. Did I talk about we were going to have a special guest? Did I say that?
I don't think we confirmed, but either way, yeah.
Oh, okay. So Svetlana is one of our viewers who has been with our show since the absolute very beginning, and she came to New York City for a wedding of a friend from Russia. I mean, she's from Russia. Svetlana's from Russia. She came here, and she said, "Hey, you know what? Rochester is close. Why don't I come and why don't I visit?" And we said, absolutely, come and visit and see upstate New York, what it's like. And at the same time, come on the show and, hey, say hello. And we have a guest here. So, okay, this is all, you only get two things in Russian. Dobry вечер.
Yeah, good evening.
And Christos Voskres.
Christ has risen.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it in Greek for me.
Christos anesti.
Wow, see? All right, see? So there's our international dialogue already. So so what did you... now, you've been to the States a number of times, right?
Yes.
And so you've obviously seen New York City, right? But this is the first time in upstate New York. So we had a chance to kind of take you around to some of the Finger Lakes and everything like that. So what'd you think of upstate New York? And remember, everybody from upstate New York is watching now.
Wonderful. I just absolutely love the nature here, and the scenery is amazing, and the weather has been so great today.
I know, today was a great day,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
mean, it was beautiful, beautiful weather today. So we were really, really happy with that. And we took you to a couple of our local establishments. Last night we had tapas at one of our parishioner restaurants. So
Amazing.
I think we went into food coma because, I mean, he just kept bringing food. It was.
I even took a picture, right? It's just, it was the whole table full of different meals, and they were all amazing.
Oh, awesome.
Good thing you didn't come during lunch.
I know.
That would have been bad.
So you're from St. Petersburg,
Right.
Not the same St. Petersburg, Florida that Terry is from, right? Okay.
No.
See, isn't that like a coincidence that the two of them are from St. Petersburg? I think that's
Fate.
I think that's fate.
fate.
There we go. That's fate. But one of the things we were kind of talking about that I thought was really interesting was we were talking about some of the differences between, let's say, Greek Orthodoxy and then Russian Orthodoxy. Now, Orthodoxy is, I mean, the liturgy is going to be the same,
Right.
and all of that's going to be the same. But there was some differences that I thought were really unique that we in America don't necessarily recognize. But I wanted to start, which I think is very, very exciting, is I want you to tell us about the emerging young priesthood in Russia. I thought that was really cool what you were talking about.
Yeah, that's for sure. That we have a number of young priests that they use modern technology to reach out to younger generations.
That's heretical. Modern technology and Orthodox,
I know.
I can't believe it. That's,
I know,
you know.
Instagram and YouTube. Yeah, but I think that is wonderful because they are trying to speak to young people kind of using their language.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they are reaching out through the social media, which is so widely used now everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of helps bring young people closer to church.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what does Orthodoxy look like in Russia? What is it? I mean, you have a beautiful church there and obviously in St. Petersburg. I know Terry's been, when I was in the military, she decided to take a trip with her friend. So while I was working hard, she was taking a trip. But you've got that beautiful church. But just like in Greece, you've got a lot of smaller than churches in the areas, right?
Yeah, that's true. We have a lot of beautiful cathedrals. And many of them are designed and built by the Italian architects. Then, when you go to St. Petersburg, you can find a lot of similar things with Italy.
Wow,
Yeah.
okay.
But
All
then,
right.
of course, there are some smaller traditional churches. They're all very beautiful. Like, very beautiful decoration inside. and of course icons are amazing. Yeah, but like all in all, it's quite traditional, and we are very strict.
Well, and that's we were talking about that too. I mean, the Greeks are not quite as strict as, let's say, the Romanians or the Russians. Like, for example, no pews, right? I mean, you have the chairs, what we call the stacidia, that go around the outside, the edges of the walls,
Yes,
right?
yes.
But not during the
Like they're definitely not in the middle.
right.
Yeah, they are on the side. So for some elderly people, if they need, they can go and have a seat for some time.
Right. Now here, my liturgy may be 20 minutes, right? I'm kidding. So, so about how like ours is about 45 minutes. So what? Oh, I mean, isn't it really 45 minutes?
Hour and a half.
Okay, Presbyter is correcting me. An hour. Okay. Really, an hour and a half?
Are you talking about the Divine Liturgy portion? Because
Yeah.
if you add the Orthros, it goes about 2.5 hours,
2.5
3 hours.
All right. Okay. So typically, what's liturgy is about?
Yeah, I think it's a bit longer.
Oh, a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, I
long.
think it's a bit longer. And of course, it depends on the communion a lot. Because if you have a lot of people that are taking the communion in the church, it will go for longer.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
so-
And is like here in America, because again, there's that Protestant tradition that we have copied over the years. All priests do give a sermon in America. Is a sermon part of the service?
Yeah.
Oh, so the priests do give a sermon then.
Yeah, like in the end of the liturgy.
Oh, they'll do that
Yeah.
at the end then. Oh, okay, all right.
If I may, I am a little curious because if you come to America, you will see a lot of Greek Orthodox churches. You'll see them done in the traditional style, but then you'll see some churches like in our building, which is a little bit more contemporary. In Russia, do you see that mix, or is it more traditional?
It's more traditional.
More traditional.
Yeah, so a lot of cathedrals, especially like big and famous cathedrals in St. Petersburg, they really remind you of Italy. But then other churches, they're more traditional. There is nothing modern.
So this must be a bit of a surprise from coming from outside of the country and seeing it like this.
No, I've seen some churches like that in Europe. So, but yeah, it's,
Okay, all right. So there's a little more modern designs in Europe
Yeah,
too. Yeah, that's
exactly.
true. That's true. So the other thing I wanted to ask, because we've got this very wide and varied audience, which we didn't expect, how did you find us? I mean, all the way over in Russia. How did you find us?
no. So in 2020, I think when the pandemic started, and I had this thought that I need to explore Orthodoxy in English because I travel quite a lot.
Okay.
And people ask me about it. And I thought like, okay, I need to find and listen to some programs and videos and just pick up the vocabulary and like learn a couple of phrases that I can use in a conversation, talk about Orthodoxy and
Wow.
maybe share.
Okay.
Like share these videos with people I know. And yeah, I just went to YouTube and typed Orthodoxy, and there were a bunch of videos, and that's the way I found you.
And
I
that's
really liked it.
all right. That's great.
you.
And that's all with Demos knowing the algorithm and all that kind of stuff. That
Okay.
wow. So
Oh, we at the time you're talking about 2020 once again, we knew that there were a lot of people all over the world that were just, they were either unable to watch the service or, because of lockdowns and so forth. So we tried to bring a little bit of the good news to everyone.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're very, very, honored that you found us and many of our audience has found us. We're hoping to help.
oh, so does the priest read the gospel in Greek?
Huh.
He probably could. I know he could.
Yeah, they could because they definitely study Greek
Mm-hmm.
in seminary. Definitely. No, I think it's Russian, but kind of like old Russian. Yeah.
So
it's-
there's something else because there is a push in Greece to read the gospel in Greek, and many parishioners here in America don't understand that. They're like, well, what do you mean? It is in Greek. No, but the Greek we're reading is New Testament Greek, which is not modern Greek. So the Russian liturgy is Slavonic, right?
Yeah, but
It
it's
is not
kind of that old Russian language. It's not modern one.
So how understandable is modern? Because I mean, maybe 50% of New Testament Greek would be understood by a modern Greek, me speaking. I mean,
It is understandable.
it is.
It is
So if when they hear the Slavonic, for the most part, they can understand
Yes,
that.
yeah.
Okay, so it is closer then.
Yes,
All
it's
right.
closer.
Okay, all right, but is there? So they don't necessarily need to read it in, let's say, modern or contemporary Russian then. Okay. I was kind of curious about that.
We have actually, oddly enough, I know you weren't going to be here for the question portion, but we have a couple of questions.
Okay,
for
all right.
you. So the first one is, what's your social security number? No, I'm
No.
just kidding. Whiskey Drinker says, jumps in and says that the Russian church uses the old church Slavic.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah, that's true.
so that's more specific, but they want you to, if you're able, to do the Jesus prayer in Russian, if you're so inclined.
To do the Jesus.
Oh, Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner.
Yeah.
We'll just do that first line.
Lord Jesus Christ, have mercy on me, a sinner. See, you're putting her on the spot now.
Yeah.
No, blame Diane, actually.
Well, okay, but you could do Christos Anesti, though.
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay,
All right.
even better.
Yeah. So let's hear that.
Христос воскресе?
No, the song,
the-
Christos Anesti.
Don't mind him. Don't
Now-
mind him.
Yeah, that. Sing, right?
Sure.
Okay, all right. What's your next question?
That,
Put her on her spot.
why do I put her on the spot again, singer? But we're very grateful to have had you on, and there might be some more questions for you towards the end. If you'd like to come back in for another 10 minutes at the end of the show,
Sure.
we would love that.
But as a closing comment, and you've mentioned that to both Terry and I, is that how you came onto the show. But more important than just coming to the show is that you seem to be encountering people, just like we are here, that want to deepen their faith and want to understand Orthodoxy. So you see people that are wanting to return to the church. So I think that's a very, very beautiful, and that's a very very wonderful thing. So obviously, like Greece, you were born into your Orthodoxy.
Right.
Okay, but typically because we're not that good here in America about training. So how does one get educated in Russia about their Orthodoxy?
Yeah, there are Sunday schools, and there are different courses for adults in the church, so you can go and join.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, so
Now, is it part of the curriculum in school? Is there a religious aspect to the curriculum in school?
unfortunately no, but I think they're talking about bringing it back. Because, it was a tradition before the revolution.
Right.
Yeah, so they had this subject at school, and so the school I went to, like from primary school to high school, it's one of the oldest schools in St. Petersburg. It's 200 years old.
Wow. Okay.
And we had a church in the school.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it was during the Soviet Union time. It was used as a gym.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so they would have classes of physical training there. Yeah, but then in the 90s they just closed it. But yeah, that's and we saw the curriculum from this school from the 19th century and beginning of the 20th century, and Orthodoxy and religious subjects were one of it was compulsory.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
that's great. That's great. So again, like Dimo said, we're very, very appreciative that coming all the way here, to just to be on a show, to talk, and to see the face of somebody that watches our show and participates. And by the way, for those of you that don't know, one of the great things that Svetlana has done for us here at the show is she has transcribed 2 years of questions of our show, so that we can organize and arrange that into then kind of educational videos. So that is a huge amount of work. And so we want to, both Dimos and I want to thank you for all that, for that really, really hard work and a level of dedication to what it is that we're trying to do here. So again, we are fellow Orthodox Christians, which is beautiful.
Yes.
I owe you at least 100 hours of my life, so thank you. Thank you very much.
Pleasure for me. So,
but before, real quick, because you have them on display, the postcards.
Oh yeah. So this was last year that Svetlana sent these to me, and these are pictures of her home of her town. So kind of starting off.
yeah. Oh, this is Winter Palace. The one, I think it's the most famous palace in St. Petersburg. And then, you can see the statue of an angel in front of it. There's like an angel on top. So angels are a symbol of St. Petersburg. So, yeah, it is there. And, right, so it is... I think you have to turn it.
Oh no, I just wanted you to have a look at it.
Right. So it is Peterhof. It's in suburbs of St. Petersburg, and it's a summer residence of Romanovs. Very beautiful palace and park. It reminds a little bit of Versailles in France.
France. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Okay.
So right, one of the bridges. We are a city of bridges and canals and rivers.
Did you know? Does one of those have an address on the back?
I don't think
Okay,
so.
okay. Just making sure in case you turn it around.
Yeah, so again, the bridges and these so we have several bridges that open at night during the summer season, and it's very beautiful, and boats can, basically you can rent a boat and go in under these open bridges, and it's very beautiful.
Oh, very
Very
beautiful.
romantic.
Yes, it is.
And this almost this reminds me of St. Paul's Cathedral in London.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's St. Isaac's Cathedral. Yeah, also very beautiful cathedral in St. Petersburg, nearby Neva River. And that's the cathedral where 2021 one of the Romanovs got married.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, we had the royal wedding.
Now, I know that these pictures may not have looked the best on the video, so if anyone's interested, they will be on our Facebook site this weekend.
Oh, really?
I'll take some digital.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So I will put that back up here. Okay. All right.
Well, thank you once again for
Thank you for having me.
Again,
traveling all the
Svetlana,
way. Yeah.
and certainly safe travels back, huh? And I was going to say we look forward to seeing you again, because based on all the travel you've been making to the United States, I know that we're going to probably see you again. So
Who knows? Who knows? We'll see.
we're a big country. We've got lots to see here.
I
There's
know.
There's a lot of things to see here. So, but at least you've left knowing that there is more to New York than just New York City.
For sure.
And my parishioners will be very happy to hear that you enjoyed your time while you were here. So,
Absolutely.
all right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. And Presbytera will be joining us for the questions in just a moment.
Hey, Presbytera, welcome back. It's the quick change swap out.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're ready for questions.
All right.
And we have quite a few.
Oh, we do. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Good. Good.
All right. So first one is from Andrea Hiu, I think is the right way. I don't know the Orthodox Church and would like to know what are the differences between a married priest and a hieromonk in their wearings, with their vestments and so forth, and why some Orthodox monks wear a black tall hat with long gauze. Is this kind of hat only belonging to a monk?
Well, let's start off at the beginning and the difference between the difference between married priest and what we would call then an archimandrite or a celibate priest. And the answer to that is that I have somebody that I take orders from. Okay, that's
Me?
yeah. So having a wife is a very humbling thing. So
I don't give orders.
what's that? So that's the big difference. Okay, but no, the Orthodox Church has room for both advantages of life. There is a married clergy life, right? Okay, and so and this is a priest now that can engage with other married couples and be able to, from a vantage point of experience, be able to speak about what it's and know the difficulties in life, having kids, what it's like to be married, having to share, the idea of self-sacrifice and all that. But at the same time, the celibate priest has a very important function also in the church, is because typically he has a bit more time to engage in the spirituality of Orthodoxy, whereas a married priest, we tend many times to not to forget, or not to forget, but what I want to say?
Overlook?
Overlook this spiritual component, because we get very caught up in day to day. And a celibate priest, being that he is closer to the monastic life than we are, he has that opportunity to remind us of that spiritual aspect of Orthodoxy. And you know this because, whenever we go to a Holy Trinity Monastery and we're with the monks and and the abbot, Father Joseph, when you go there, what do you feel?
Oh, it's a very spiritual place. We enjoy going there.
Yeah, and the way that we engage with them is much, much different, let's say, than we engage with our fellow married priests, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference there. It reminds us of who we are.
Right.
Now, there was also the question about the wearing of the tall hat.
Why do some Orthodox monks wear a tall black hat with the long gauze? Is this kind of hat only belonging to a monk?
So that the hat, the kalimafi hat, is not exclusive to the monks.
I'm not sure that's what he's referring to. He's saying the tall hat with a veil. I think he's talking about the bishops.
Right. But that's still a kalimafi.
Oh, it is?
Well.
Oh, I guess. I just didn't realize that.
Kalimafi
was the short hat.
What? Yeah, it is. Okay, yeah, that's true. It is a shorter hat. But yes, that hat together with the veil is a monastic symbol. So that belongs to that monastic clergy, as opposed to me just wearing a straight kalimafi, which just kind of looked like a stovepipe kind of hat.
Short stovepipe.
Short stovepipe, right? Not the Abraham Lincoln.
Full Lincoln.
Not the full Lincoln, right? Just the abbreviated Lincoln, right?
So we have a returning question from last week by Isaac Awad, who asked, can you explain the main reason the Chalcedonian and non-Chalcedonian churches are different?
Well, so a rather long discussion, but just to kind of put it into a framework, and Father John Meyendorff did a great job of discussing those differences. So we have this coming out of the Council of Chalcedon of 451, and we have. Oh, and I always get these backwards now. So it is a discussion about the natures of Christ. So how many natures does Christ have?
I'm going to get this wrong because you're two.
Two. He has two natures. And he has how many wills?
Well, he follows the will of God.
But he has two wills.
Yes, but
Right.
his will is aligned with God's will.
Is aligned with God. So because I would get those wrong too. I'd be like, no, one will, and they're like heretic. All right, but he has two wills, and
Well,
he
that was
has
an
two
important one
natures.
to not get wrong. So you made me nervous.
Yeah, no, right. So, but I've already made that mistake anyway. So the idea is that those who did not follow the Chalcedon canons, which stated that there are two natures of Christ, they became the non-Chalcedonians. All right. However, if you read further into John Meyendorff's essay on that, and actually there was just a small piece that I wanted to read from there, but in essence, it is not the major difference that most people feel. So they feel that what it was is this huge difference that one said he is a monophysite, meaning that he only has one nature, and then there was the dual, which was that he has two natures. And they thought that was originally the difference between the two. But it turns out that it's a little more convoluted than that. And so they agree that those natures, the idea is, are those natures united in Christ, or are they distinct? So there was never an argument about he only has one nature. It's, were those two natures united in the divinity of Christ? But like I said, I can post that later, but that article by John Meyendorff really does a good job of kind of going into the major, the historical account and the theology of that.
Okay, very good.
Sorry, long answer there.
All right. Roberta Fierro says, I hate the way babies are constantly depicted. Very rarely is baby Jesus painted in a charming or beautiful baby like most babies look.
And,
No, go ahead.
well, why is he not painted like a baby? Like a charming little baby?
No, you go ahead and answer.
All right. So it is on purpose that it is inappropriate to paint the infant Jesus as a child, because it leads us to the heresy that Jesus inherited his divinity by doing the right things to please his God. So kind of like Buddha. So Jesus is not Buddha. He always was divine, but what happened is he revealed his divinity as he aged. So when he was 12 years old in the temple and they saw him, that wasn't Jesus now all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but saying, oh, look how smart that little kid is. No, he is revealing the divinity and the knowledge that he always had. So in an icon, we depict him with an adult face to show that his self-knowledge, his divinity was always present.
Well, and didn't they marvel at how much he knew? They were looking at this, was he 6? Is that the story where he was 6? And they marveled at how someone so young could know so many things.
Right, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
So that is done on purpose. So he's not a cherubim or a cherubim where they could paint them in the.
Okay. All right. Our next one comes from Chisel Mo.
All right.
I go to the Greek Orthodox Church in Colombia. No one is Greek, but we do get the flag out for Independence Day. I would like to give thanks to American donors who have built churches for us.
Now he's talking about Colombia, South America, right?
Yes.
Oh no, got it. Yes, there are definitely Greeks there, because I had a when I was consulting, we actually had we were actually sent over as a team by the Colombian government, so that we could teach certain automotive principles to some of the universities that were there. So I was over there, and I just happened to ask about, hey, is there a Greek restaurant here and everything like that? And they said yes, and they took me to a factory that makes gurambiedes. And Greek owned, the whole thing. So there is a Greek population in Colombia for sure.
No,
And I met them.
It could be that at this particular church there aren't that many Greeks that Chisel may have met.
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
The fact that but they still celebrate the Greek Independence Day.
Is
Quite remarkable.
Quite remarkable, right? I mean, Colombia's it's not just a little. I was in Medellin, so I was in the major city of Colombia.
And from an American perspective, everything seems small.
That's right. Yes.
In general, you can't compare the entirety of the United States to Sweden, for instance. It's like comparing a state to a continent, practically.
Practically, yeah. We're not on the order of Australia, but hey, or Russia for that matter, right?
For
size,
is Australia?
I think Australia is bigger than the United States, landmass wise. But anyway.
So we'll get back to geography questions answered.
Geography questions.
Yes.
Fun with flags.
We cover it all. So, all right. Next up is Whiskey Drinker.
Oh, wow. You got to love that name.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wish I thought of that. May Christ God bless you all. As a young man, all I have are hoodies and jeans. I don't want to wear them when I go to the church.
Okay.
Can you give me some advice on what to wear?
Yeah, wear business casual. Just, go buy a polo shirt somewhere. Whether you buy it from Salvation Army or you buy it from a Goodwill store or whatever it is. Buy yourself a polo short, polo shorts, not polo shorts. Well, you could buy polo shorts too, but a polo shirt, and then just a nice pair of slacks. That's all you need. A polo shirt, nice pair of slacks.
Yeah, it doesn't have to cost a lot.
Nope.
United States beats Australia by nearly 2 million square kilometers.
I thought so, but
really,
We're practically the same size.
I would not expect that. Okay.
Well, that's what I thought, but I don't want to say something dumb on camera. And
so there's your geography question answered.
All right, and Ancient Apostolic says, "Greetings, Father and all."
We have a super chat from Toby Jean, who asks, "What are the wedding vows given by the priest in a Greek wedding, even though there aren't vows, the equivalent thereof?"
The closest that we get.
Oh, he's up.
I'm up. So, all right. Let's see here. Let me see if it's even in the book. And again, this is something that we were taught at seminary. All right.
For Whiskey Drinker, this should be the game every time he gets up.
Yes. Except, we couldn't drive home then.
All right. So, as the couple stands outside the royal doors looking, the priest takes up the censer, senses the holy icon, and then the priest asks the bride if she wishes to marry the groom. And the groom, if he wishes to marry the bride, and then the service begins. So the only thing that we have that is vows is I say, do you take this man of your own free will? And then she says, yes, I do, or no, I don't. I say the same thing for the bride, and that's as close as we get to vows.
And then you ask them a surprise question.
Oh, then I personally ask a surprise question like, what is the best car company? What is the best whiskey? What is the whiskey you're going to buy me after this is over? I ask those kinds of questions.
And when they answer the wrong question, what do you do?
I don't give them the candles. I tell them to go back and learn the right answer.
All right, our next question is from Carol Flower. Looking for info on good spiritual schedule daily routine for a new Orthodox. Links or suggestions?
So there are quite a number of apps that are out there, and the one that I'm looking for right now on my phone here is just if I can just see where.
They're looking for prayers, time spent. A guide probably to for new Orthodox. They're for a catechumen, a timeline, like prayers they could say.
Yeah, 9 a.m. wake up. Read this prayer. This is the prayer you say before lunch.
We have that on the The Orthodox, they give you the hours, the different prayers to say at midnight, at the third hour, sixth hour, ninth hour, so forth throughout the whole day.
They do that, and we've also given these away too. These little small Orthodox prayer guides, prayer books, and they will have in there morning prayers, midday prayers, meal prayers, after dinner prayers. No,
Perhaps they could send us an address, not here, but maybe email you, and you could send that.
Yes, Carol. Email us at agocny@gmail. It's in the description. I'm going to add it to the chat in a moment. And Father will send you that prayer book.
An autographed copy.
An autographed copy.
Who's autographing it?
Yeah, that's right. Who's autographing it? So, all right, but that's a great book for exactly what you're talking about. So send us your email, and I'll get that mailed off to you. And by the way, we also have for the gentleman that won our quiz. I was a little bit late in getting this sent out, but it went out in the mail. So give it a couple of days, and you're going to see it there.
Okay, great. All right. And then Diane says, Christos anesti apoti mani.
Oh, okay, yeah. So she's in Greece, right? Well, she and her husband are in Greece right now. So ne επίσης Christos anesti. And we're hoping that, again, she's had safe travels over there. She's enjoying the weather. Hopefully it's not too hot over there. Not by
It's too
now.
early.
Too early. Yeah.
Diane's from Florida, so it's not going to be that big of a difference.
That's true. And again, thank you very much, Diane, again for all the wonderful gifts and the food that we've received. So we are very, very grateful for that. Most of that is gone now. The jams are
those jams are wonderful.
Oh, those jams.
If you're psychologically asking for more jams, Diane already went to sleep for the evening.
Oh, it's okay. She's hey, that's not bad. I mean, it's 7 hours.
I think so.
Oh, right. The UK's 5, so I think she's 7, right?
Yeah,
So-
Germany is 6, so I believe Greece is 7.
Geography questions answered.
Okay.
All right. Then our next one is from Fyodor Dostoevsky. Can an Orthodox believe that evolution did happen, but God imparted a divine soul after evolution was finished?
No. So man is a separate creation because he is the only one. And man, I mean man and woman. Okay, capital M, right? He is a distinct creation because he is solely in the image and likeness of God. So he receives that. Each human then receives a particular soul from God that belongs to that person and that will be reunited to that person at the second coming. So after they die, we have the separation of the soul and body, but that soul that is particular to that body will be returned at the second coming. And I just lost my...
Evolution.
Okay, so where Orthodox can somewhat support evolution is after first cause. So what we cannot support is evolution to the point that we evolved as human beings from something. So we can't accept that because we are a distinct creation by God, different from plants and different from animals. Okay, but what we can accept is that because it is scientifically proven, we can see evolutionary progress happening in certain animals as they have evolved and adapted to their environment. There's been some evolution there, but not a human evolution from a lower life form.
Okay.
Real quick, Diane actually did stay up to point out that it's intermittently cold in Greece and that it's 2:42 a.m. So
2:42.
2:42.
And I think we started a trend because Ancient Apostolic mentioned that it's 6:42 p.m. where they are, which should be the Midwest.
That only reminds me of the Three Stooges, where they're all like, synchronize your watches, and it's like, it's like 2:50, and then you look at Curly's watch, and it's like 2:37. It's like, yeah. So that reminds me of that.
It could continue the Inspector Clouseau route, where as soon as that happens, the watches stop.
All right, and then maybe we said this earlier, I can't remember, but Ancient Apostolic says, how do you say that? Privet y Christos Voskres. Yes, we got a thumbs up from Svetlana.
Воистину воскрес.
The answer,
Yes,
he truly, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yes. All right. Oh, and then Carol just commented to Whiskey Drinker that about the clothing, what to wear. It's more important that you are at church, not what you wear, but do your best. God knows.
Yeah,
All right.
and again, just I mean, we have to just be sure that we are appropriate to the house of God. Okay, so ripped T-shirts, shorts, it is not right to say these are the only clothes that I own. I only own torn T-shirts, and I only, I mean.
Well, they didn't say that.
No. I'm just saying, because you do have that non-denominational ideal. Sometimes is come as you are, and the Orthodox Church has a come as you are, but in a respectful manner. So we do have.
True. But, I mean, for last resort, I mean, they can go to church. I've seen people come here in jeans. They're nice jeans.
They're
so
nice, right.
It's better to come in the jeans than to not come at all.
No, I've seen them come in jeans, just regular like jeans that you're wearing right now. So, and we don't say anything. We don't say anything about that because again, we understand that people's situations are what they are. But again, the Orthodox Church would just add that last line about in a respectful manner.
Okay. All right. And then they responded back, yes, you're right, but I want to be as respectful as I can. So there we go.
There we go.
And then Whiskey Drinker also said, and to add to the languages that we did the last time, we say, Christ, this is in Turkish. It's read as it's written. So remember last week?
We did? I did it in Turkish?
Yes,
right.
Yes. I'm not going to attempt it because I'll get it wrong. And then Carol Flower said, I moved from the city to the country and I'm shocked at how casual people dress in the country to go to church, but almost all of them dress very casual. So,
Well, in America, the jeans are practically a tuxedo, so we're fine.
That's right.
I mean, we have, well, I know she's off camera right now, but I'm just going to ask. So churchgoers in Russia, are they casual? Are they wearing jeans? How do they come to church?
They make an effort to look nicely.
Okay.
That's for sure. Yeah, occasionally I see people in jeans, but mostly men try to wear trousers and shirts. Smart casual, I would say. And women wear dresses.
Yeah. So I was just asking Svetlana what is typical in Russia, and it sounds like it's exactly the same here. Men wear nice trousers. They're going to wear a nice shirt. Probably they could wear short sleeve shirt too if they want. Right. I mean like a polo shirt or business kind of shirt. And women wear dresses.
But some wear jeans. You have a mix.
And she said some wear jeans. Now, are any of the women wearing pants?
Yes.
See?
No,
So
they can't. They didn't hear her.
no, so okay. So that's an ongoing controversy here is can women wear pants? Certainly I've heard my mom, I've been trying to get my mom, she's finally convinced of that, and Svetlana says yes. There are some women in Russia that do wear pants. So it is okay to wear pants.
I think Mary Tyler Moore proved that in the 60s. So
Proved that?
we're good.
All right. Okay. We have a question from Aaron. What is the Orthodox Church's position on when unbaptized babies die? Do they go to hell?
Well, I don't think they go to hell.
No, no, and they don't go to limbo. We don't have any of these concepts. So there is. Remember, there is no original sin to erase. We don't have the concept of original sin. I mean, we have the consequence of original sin, but we don't have the idea. So there's nothing to erase. Okay. So if a baby does regrettably die before they can be baptized, then no, they will return then to the Father's kingdom. So there's no worry there. Now it is Orthodox. It is Orthodox practice that if that appears imminent, okay, to do at least an air baptism, right, where they hold the child up. But sometimes the child is stillborn, okay, so there's nothing that you can do. And so for us as Orthodox, we believe that that child will be then returned to the father. Okay, everything is his will. Okay, so there was a purpose there. No mother, obviously, no parent wants to hear that. So that's not anything that we would ever say, well, that was the will of God. We'll never say something like that. But we certainly comfort the family that just because the child is not baptized does not deny them of the eternal kingdom.
All right. Biologos 101. I saw a question. Did I lose it? They had a comment. Even if I attend a Roman Catholic church, I want to thank the Orthodox Church, especially the priests in Kiev that I talk to, for helping find my way back to God.
Oh,
so
okay.
That's a nice comment.
That's a very beautiful comment.
And Whiskey Drinker also wanted to say that they changed their name from Water Drinker to Whiskey Drinker in honor of you.
Water Drinker. I remember that. Water Drinker.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, again, Ushka Beha, right? It is the water of life, right? So, that is very appropriate.
Yeah. Ushka Beha Blasta.
And for our Scottish Gaelic speakers, you can translate that.
So, Biologos 101. What is the general view of the Orthodox Church toward Byzantine Rite Catholic churches?
Well, they're our brothers. I mean, they're our brothers in Christ. Remember, these were Orthodox churches that, because of the inability of the failing Byzantine Empire to be able to protect them against the Ottomans, they turned to Rome, and Rome offered protection, but at a cost. And that cost is that you will commemorate the Pope instead of the Patriarch. And they said, when your lands are going to be overtaken, it's death or it's commemorate the Pope. And they said, okay, we'll commemorate the Pope. And that continued on. So they allowed them to retain their Byzantine rite in every way, meaning the priest could still marry, they would still have the same vestments that the Orthodox do. They would still have the St. John Christum liturgy in its entirety. They would still have Byzantine chant. So it is imperceptible from for the most part, imperceptible from an Orthodox liturgy, but at the commemoration, it is the commemoration of Rome.
You suppose that was, they had a bargaining table and they said, all right, this is, they went back and forth on what would be allowed.
All right, what's the deal here? What are you putting on the table? So, but they are our brethren, and they were Orthodox churches.
Mm-hmm. All right. Rebecca Shantz asks, at what point did Europe's kings become led by a Christian god? Does it seem odd that King Charles had Solomon's bracelets as a treasure in the coronation rites? And did Greek kings have those as well?
Wow. Man, that's
I didn't realize he had Solomon's bracelets.
Yeah, I guess I didn't. Demos, you're the Solomon expert there. Did you know that? I did not know that.
I did not know that about the bracelets. I'd be very curious to see how they've been historically dated. But one thing that you and I definitely have been talking about this week was the specific chants that were made during the presentation of the regalia. If you want to talk about that real quick.
As soon as you explain to me what you just said.
The Byzantine chanting that happened at the coronation. Remember they were chanting?
Oh, yes. Oh, okay.
Well, he actually didn't watch the coronation. I had it on, but
and then I came out and I heard it. So during the presentation of, I believe, the
regalia specifically, but the sword.
The sword of justice, right? It was the sword of justice.
Yes, I don't believe that belonged to Solomon.
So no, that sword didn't believe. But during that presentation, it was the Byzantine there was a Byzantine choir that was there. I forgot who led that Byzantine choir, but they were Capella Romana, I think, was who was there, and it was very, very moving. It was very beautiful to hear Byzantine chant in the background while he is being presented with the sword of his kingship. So I think that was a very beautiful thing. So there is clearly a Christian connection with England, as much as there through the Byzantine Empire and Rome, as much as there was in the early church.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember how far back Christianity goes with in Europe as far as the king Charlemagne, or Carl. Is it Carl?
Carl the Große.
Yeah. I mean, that was Christian. I don't know. I guess we have to look into that.
Well, again, and remember, it was the Greek monks that came over through Ireland, right? Mm-hmm. And don't we believe that the Orthodox influenced the Book of Kells, right? That was an Orthodox influence because they were fleeing from that persecution, and they fled to the lands of Ireland, and then from that you have Columba, who is in the 4th century, comes to Iona in Scotland, right?
Right.
So
it goes way back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Much further back than the Middle Ages.
As for Rebecca's questions, I'm particularly curious about the Solomon's bracelet. So, check us out again next week, and we may have an answer for that for you.
Meaning that we're going to kind of find out the history.
I want to look into it,
Okay.
definitely. I mean, we just completed our Solomon series.
We'll ask Lady C if she knows the answer. Lady C might know.
Oh, okay.
So, and if we have time later on, if we at the end of the show, we can talk about the Stone of Destiny because we looked into that.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. We did look.
We'll come back to that if we have time.
That should have been the 5th Indiana Jones film. Indiana Jones and the Sword of Destiny.
Stone of Destiny.
Yes. It's kind of an interesting story about the Stone of Destiny.
Sword of Destiny sounds better too.
All right.
Of course, talking about bracelets, I can only think of. Remember that? Shazam! Remember that? No.
So moving on. Of course, I remember.
I mean, the bracelets, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Next up is Sotidis Dragos. Hi, Father and Presbytera and Demos. Hi, Sam. Why do we chant Hyperaia Theotoke Sosonimas? Doesn't it literally translate to Most Holy Theotokos, save us, when salvation comes from God?
So again, kind of a two-part answer, and you kind of already know this, right?
Well, go ahead.
Okay, so when the hymn was created, this was during one of the first sieges upon the city of Constantinople, and the patriarch of the city got the people together and asked the patron saint of the city, the Theotokos, to literally save them from the oncoming onslaught from the naval fleet of the Ottomans that was coming to attack the city. And a violent storm came up and blew the ships back. So there was, and again, so this is the legend, that the patriarch asked the people to pray, "O Holy Lady Theotokos, save us." And so you have a literal asking for salvation for my life right now. Now, part 2 of that is that it is correct, Sam, what you said, is that salvation, that eternal salvation, comes only from Jesus Christ. All right? But at the same time, the Orthodox Church believes that the power of her intercession can literally save us also. So we do not believe that the Lady Theotokos has the power to save us. She is not, as sometimes the Catholics have called her, co-mediatrix. She is not the 4th person of the Trinity, all right? But she does have the voice, the intercessory voice, closest to her Son. And so in that sense, her intercessory prayers go a very long way to being able to save us, and we don't want to. And we as Orthodox do not deny that potentiality.
Okay. The next question is from Donis Yorgio. Do all the parishes have the Red Book? I'm not sure. Is that referring to?
I think he's referring to.
No, we're referring to the the one by Calivus.
Oh yeah.
The
Liturgy book?
The liturgy book. If you're talking about the one that's by Calivus, I wish all Orthodox churches had that because Father Calivus does a very, very good job in the beginning of that of explaining the high points of the liturgy. He also includes the memorial prayer. He includes the Tersium in the back. He includes all of the 8 odes of the resurrectional hymns. That's probably one of the best liturgy books that I've seen. And size-wise, it's done very nicely. So I wish we did have that originally, but they got changed out. But I found the old books and I saved them all. So
what other variations have you seen?
There's the latest one is the one that was put out by the Patriarchate about maybe 5 to 7 years ago, and they tried to get an authorized translation of English from the liturgy, and so this was a work that was started by the Patriarch, and there was a team of English translators. However, unfortunately, they did not include the bishops in America as commentary, and so it really didn't catch on. So that one book is available. You'll find that in some of the parishes. There is also the one that we use, and I don't know who the author of that is. It is another English translation, smaller book, and it does not have the memorial service in there. I think it has the Tersium. It doesn't have the hymns of the church, and the problem is that all 3 have different English translations, and it just makes it very, very difficult when you go to another church and you are so used to saying something in English, and then all of a sudden then you have to say it differently because they have a different book. But there's only really three books that I've seen. There is one more that was authored by Father John Magulius, and I think they use that at St. George in Bloomfield. So there is also Father John Magulius's book too.
Are they traditionally read?
Well, I think so. They've all the ones I've seen have been read. There is also.
Oh, you mean R-E-D?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you read like R-E-A-D.
They've
all been read. Yes.
Is there a?
Yes, they're all read. No, the one we use is a black cover. The rest are all red. Correct.
What about the green ones? Were those just?
No, that's
hymnals?
just a hymnals. That's just a hymnal.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Okay. Maria asks, are you excited for any new Christian movies coming out this year or any other new movie?
Well, I'm always excited for a good movie, but are there any Christian movies coming? Now, Demos is Mr. Movie.
But I'm not Mr. Pure Flicks. I don't know that much about upcoming Christian movies off the top of my head. Movies coming out this year? Mission Impossible probably is the one I'm looking forward to the most. The 7th one.
Okay.
That's the first thing popping in my head. I'm terrified of Indiana Jones 5.
This is the one where Harrison Ford's in a wheelchair, I think, right? He's rolling.
Yeah, that joke has been
nice.
The funny part is that joke's been made since 2008, since the last one.
Oh, okay, all right.
And now he's back. I don't know. Without Spielberg, I'm not sure. But yeah, Mission Impossible is probably what I'm most excited about.
I would like them to, because having Svetlana here reminded me, that really good movie about the Russian monk.
The Island.
The Island. That was a very, very good movie. I'd like to see that back in theaters again. That was very well done.
We never saw that in the theater.
No, we didn't see it in the theater, but I mean that would be a nice one to bring back.
If anybody is excited about an upcoming or brand new Christian movie out there internationally, movies we've never heard of, let us know in the comments because we're always looking for that.
I think there was a Christian movie coming out, but I can't remember. Although I am excited for Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
The most Christian of Christian movies.
Yes, Guardians
I
of the
want to
Galaxy.
see, but see, Groot's all grown up now, so I liked Baby Groot. Oh well, okay.
I mean, God is the literal guardian of the galaxy.
Yes, and we had Kurt Russell. You can't beat Kurt Russell. He was so good in Guardians of the Galaxy too. Anyway, and then I'm not sure.
Does that put him in a subservient role? That a guardian usually has a boss.
Not necessarily. I mean, a guardian could be the boss.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about that one.
There's a comment here from Subdeacon John Barone. He apparently has some Greek in his bloodline.
Charles.
So that's what I
Yeah.
assumed he was talking about Charles. Yeah, well, his father was Greek,
Half Greek, right?
half Greek.
Half
All
Greek.
those European royal families, they were very close.
Right. Yeah.
All right. John A. asks, how long did it take you to transition from your previous career into priesthood?
Well, okay, so so I always had so there was a military structure, right, when I was in the military, okay? And then General Motors is basically the military for civilians, okay, because they had the same attitude, all right? So transitioning into the priest role was really, from that standpoint, was really easy because you follow orders. And if your boss says do this, you do it. You don't worry about whether it's right or wrong. It's the boss and you do it. Okay? So I didn't have any issue or problem transitioning from an obedience standpoint, because every job I've ever had, you were expected to be obedient. Okay? So I never had a problem with that. What I had a problem with was being nice to people. That's what I had a problem with, because when I was in the military, I didn't have to be nice to you. You just did what I told you to do, and if you didn't like it, it doesn't matter. And at GM, we're GM. Okay, so if a supplier said I don't want to do that, we said I don't care. You're doing that. Okay, so I didn't have to take any. I didn't have to be nice. But when you're a priest, you got to be nice. You got to be nice to people, okay? And most of them, when they work, they're volunteers, right? And so you have to know how to work with volunteers. You can't fire a volunteer. Well, you can, okay? But generally speaking, you have to be able to work with a volunteer staff, all right? At the same time, when you engage with people, it can be a very humbling experience. Because they have their issues and concerns and problems, and you can't feign interest. Like let's say you're
can't?
Well, you're not supposed to, I mean, like if you're pouring out your heart to me,
yes.
pouring out your heart to me, I mean, I can't be, sitting here going, I mean, you generally you're the image of Christ to them, and so you have to be able to be compassionate, and put them in front of yourself, So sometimes what can end up happening is somebody will start telling you stories, or issues and problems they're having, and all of a sudden you want to start talking about your problems. No, that's not why you're here. So understanding how to deal with people was very difficult. That took. I'm still working on that.
Yeah, that's why we work together, because Demos literally means people.
People, right. Hey, look how I treat you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Real quick, Migs pointed out an upcoming Christian movie, Passion of the Christ 2. It's about the resurrection. That is a good point. That is coming out. I'm not, the biggest fan of the original. I've mentioned this on the show before. In this case, I do agree with Roger Ebert that the original had too much Good Friday, not enough Easter Sunday. So
right.
This has the opportunity to reverse that,
to redeem that. Mm-hmm.
And however you feel about Mel Gibson, he is a great director. So I'm curious to see how this is done.
Yeah, and I would definitely go to see
Yeah.
that. I would definitely go to see that.
And people are mentioning, of course, a Man of God as a recent great Christian.
Oh
film.
yeah,
Yeah.
Man of God was very, very well done about Saint Ignatius.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Donis asks, what if a baby is born disabled? Got baptized in a hospital. Should a disabled baby be rebaptized at the church?
Is there such a thing as rebaptized?
Well, when okay, so
So the baby was baptized in a hospital. So perhaps it was the air baptism
Okay.
that you were
Yeah, no.
mentioning earlier. So a disabled baby had the air baptism. Now they survive. Let's say.
no, they
and-
have to be rebaptized in the church. So disabled baby, not disabled, doesn't matter. An air baptism is only valid if the child passes away. But if the child survives, then a proper baptism must be done in the church.
Okay. All right.
Was that an answer? That was the only answer tonight that was like under 5 minutes.
You're doing good. You're doing good. But these pair of questions are just depressing, though. They're great questions.
The questions
This
need
one,
to be
because
answered.
The next one.
What do you want to ask the depressing question?
Why?
Nicholas?
Well, maybe I can add a happy spin to it.
Here we go. I'll have
No,
you
I
answer.
can't ask this in a happy way. Should we feel guilty if we have to put our pets down due to a medical issue that is incurable? I found out I have to decide to put my pet down prior to his decline.
Well, since we have had to do this on numerous occasions, I'll let Terry start off first.
Oh. Well, we should not feel guilty. We should never feel guilty. We're doing what is best for the pet. I mean, we don't want to put people down. We don't want to
Cause undue.
to do the Kevorkian and kill somebody
Oh,
because
right.
they're sick. Because
Euthanasia.
that's what.
Euthanasia?
Yes, euthanasia. Thank you. But pets are already perfect, right? And
Yes,
so
right,
they've
yeah.
already achieved perfection, and so we don't have to, keep them because they're working towards perfection, and they're an animal, and we want what's best for them, and if they don't have a quality of life, why let them suffer?
And we've had to put a number of our pets down, unfortunately, because we typically take older pets from the shelter, all right? And it's been it's a difficult decision, but we always knew that it was the right thing in the midst of their suffering, and that's what was wrong.
All right. So, but this question, I think, now that I look at it again, they're saying that should they put their pet gets a diagnosis and of a medical issue and it hasn't declined yet. If the animal is still okay, is it okay? He's got to decide whether to put, he or she, I don't know, they have to decide whether to put their pet down while they're still healthy. They have not started to decline yet.
I would not, and neither would you, right?
It depends on each situation, though, is different. We don't know what the illness is. Perhaps they're going to suffer a lot, and they don't want them to suffer. I don't know.
No, but the key thing you said was if they are in good health, that they are not at the point of suffering. Let's say they have a cancer, right? But that cancer has like Dusty. Okay, we knew that Dusty had cancer, but we kept her alive until we actually saw, as we were taking her to the doctor, that we could tell that she was in physical pain, and that's when we made the decision to put her down. So as long as the cat, our pet is having a quality of life, I don't see that there's any need to put them down. I mean, that's what I'm.
Well, we don't know the whole story, though. It
Right.
could depend on what the situation is.
It-
But you should not feel guilty for putting your
that's-
pet down. We want what's best for them, and so it's a difficult decision. We just had friends who just had to put their dog down, and they came to the house and did it.
Oh, yeah.
They
Oh,
didn't
they
have,
did?
Yeah, they
Oh.
didn't have to bring their dog anywhere. The dog got to
Oh.
fall asleep peacefully at home.
Yeah. See, that's
Yeah, and they said it's best.
No.
No, I was just gonna say, as a former pet owner myself, I would just be sure that if, in this particular case, the issue you're having is whether or not to put the pet down before you see a decline. Well, if that question is on the table, I would get a second opinion regardless. That would be the worst thing in the world if you acted on something that wasn't correct.
Right. And I have to take the opportunity here to extend this question to humans, okay? Because, and a human is obviously not a pet, okay? But I have been in a number of different situations where the family member has said, I refuse treatment. I've come to the end of my line. Okay, and most of the time this is a case where they're elderly. They're in their 80s, they're in their 90s. They've decided they're not going through any more cancer treatments. I'm accepted my lot, and I know that I'm going to die. Okay, and we don't have to feel guilty for that. We don't have to push and say, no, you've got to do everything you can to stay alive. You know, if we are, as St. Paul says, those who have no hope, then we will claw every inch of life. But this is not reality. This is, as Christians, we do not believe that this is reality. I get it, we are here on earth. But our true purpose is to be reunited with our God. And if somebody has made the decision, you know, in a right frame of mind, and said, I don't want any more treatment. I've accepted my lot, and I am ready to go. That doesn't mean we got to, like you said, that doesn't mean we pull out the Kevorkian device and get rid of them, but we let God be in charge now, and he takes over, and he decides. Just because you say to them, okay, I accept what you said, that doesn't mean they're going to die. You have no power to decide when they're going to die. They do that. But it is okay to say that. I did that with my father. I didn't, when my father was close to death, I didn't say to him, you know, oh, Dad, you've got to push on, you've got to struggle, you've got to, you know, I mean, he knew when he was ready. And so, okay. And I could accept that. So I have to extend that from pets. I have to extend that to humans, that, you know, certainly if they're younger, we want to do everything that we can, right? I mean, you got to push to, you know, try harder, but sometimes you have to accept the person's decision. And if we are truly Christians, then we know that we do not fear death, that we know that perfection awaits us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that opens up a couple of lines that we should address real quick. I mean, so that brings us up to a certain line. Number one, how does that fit in with the topic of euthanasia? Because if somebody's made the decision that they're ready to die, why not just get them out of their misery?
Because you are not God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you cannot act as God. Just because I say I want to die does not mean I'm going to die. Okay, all I'm saying when I say I'm ready to die, what I am saying is that I am allowing God's will to be done. That's all I'm saying. And when that happens, whatever that is, I may live another year. I may live another 2 years. I may live 30 seconds, okay? But I have stepped back and surrendered myself fully to God and said, it is now your will what happens to me. I am done involving myself.
So if we're basing it on whether or not you're taking, you know, I'm just going to refuse treatment, okay?
Sure.
So what if they refuse to eat?
I mean, if they... now, again, we don't, again, it's a difficult balance between them suffering. We don't want to see them starve to death, obviously, okay? But in some instances, when they're in a coma state, that is what we're doing. They are starving. I mean, to some extent, they are, okay? But when you are conscious and literal, no, we don't want them to starve. And I got to say, I've never been in a situation where they have refused food. I mean, what they'll do is they'll say, all I want is water. just wet my lips. All I want is water, and they're sustained on that. And then and usually at that point we do interject. If it's like cancer or something like that, we do interject with morphine or something that eases the pain so they don't suffer. Okay, but I've never seen a situation where they forcibly starve, and become skeletal and all that.
Well, Happy Tales. I know we went much deeper with your question, but I just want to let you know our prayers are with you and your pet.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's always very difficult time.
Yes, we've had shed many tears about our.
Somebody's asking what saint is that behind you, and I look up and the first thing I see is the cat.
What saint is that? What that's the only thing I could see that they would. Unless it's the.
Well, that's Saint Jesus.
Boy, they can't tell from home. It's very small.
Oh, okay.
It might be the cat. It might be a joke about the cat.
She is a saint. She's a good cat.
She picks on her sister something awful.
That's Saint Rosie, right?
It is. It's Saint Rosie. She's a good girl.
I don't know.
She is.
She can terrorize her sister.
Well, yeah. All right. Happy Tales asks, do you recommend any study material to pass the Greek citizen exam? I'm applying for dual citizenship as a Greek American.
Well, I'm in the process of doing that myself. So I've had several parishioners that have gone through that, and one parishioner actually created a very detailed instructional guide on how to proceed. If you send me your email, I will send kind of that instruction format, and you can follow along with that. And she was successful, by the way. The process typically takes about 2 years, of the back and forth, but she was very successful at that, and that's pretty much the best that I can do as far as reading material goes.
So Happy Tales, email us at agocny@gmail.com. It's in the description, also in the chat.
Yeah, and just say Greek citizenship.
Yeah.
All right. Ancient Apostolic threw in Saint Feline. The cat.
Oh, Saint.
Yes. Whiskey Drinker asks, can I get baptized while not believing that Saint Mary can save me?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, salvation comes, as we said, salvation comes through Christ. And obviously then through the Holy Spirit, the will of the Father, the salvific action of Jesus Christ, and the grace given to us by the Holy Spirit.
Okay, all right. And then there's some comments about the movies, so I guess hopefully everybody can see that. Maybe are we going to put some of those on our list?
We talked a little bit about Man of God and Passion of the Christ too.
Should we put that on a movie list? We had our Lenten movie list.
Well, Man of God is on the Lenten movie list. Passion of the Christ 2 isn't, because it hasn't come out yet, and those were supposed to be movies we recommend. So until something comes out and at least one of us
can see it, right. Yeah, you don't want to recommend something we haven't seen yet.
Yeah. Okay. That's why I didn't add a lot of the more obscure ones until at least one of us sees it.
Right.
All right. John asks, what is the Orthodox view on the series The Chosen and Jesus portrayed properly according to the Orthodox Church?
Well, I mean, again, there's no official Orthodox position on any kind of real TV show, but we've watched The Chosen.
Well, we saw the first season. We have not seen the second season
yet. So we saw the first season. I did not see anything objectionable in the way that Jesus and the disciples were presented. All right, we can make some commentary about, why was Matthew portrayed as autistic?
They didn't say autistic.
No, but his actions indicated that there was, something there. I thought they did a great job on Peter. I mean, I could see that aggressive nature, and I'm ready to go.
And there was some question on who was it? Was it Nicodemus who was crying because they were leaving? I mean, there was a few things they took a lot of liberties with, but overall,
nothing that was, but nothing that was heretical. I did not see anything that was to me that was heretical. Now, those of you that have seen it, maybe point out some things that maybe I or you missed. But okay. So if you
Jesus.
just no.
Nicodemus.
If Nicodemus cried, okay. I mean, that's not going to change my Christian belief. Okay.
Well, they made it look like he wanted to go with Christ and the disciples, and
yes, right.
I don't know. It was overall, though, we enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have another super chat from Toby Jean. Thank you very much, Toby Jean. Again, on the subject of marriage, there isn't a quote giving the bride away end quote as
Correct.
in American culture.
Mm-hmm.
Is there?
No, there's not. And remember, in the Catholic theology, the couple are marrying one another. They're giving themselves to one another, and the priest is the observant celebrant. So he is the observer. They are the celebrants, and the priest then observes and sanctifies that celebration. In the Orthodox Church, I am or the bishop. I am the celebrant. Okay, and it is the grace then of the Holy Spirit that then blesses that marriage. Okay, so there's a difference in theology, and that Catholic theology has extended through Protestantism into America. All right, and so in American culture, the couple are the couples are the celebrants. They are the ones who are marrying one another. I vow that I will write vows, and I do this and I do that. Okay, and then all the priest is doing, or the pastor is doing, is just the observer who is then sanctifying that. But for Orthodoxy, the reason that the couple doesn't do anything is because there's nothing for them to do. From an Orthodox perspective, whatever vows they had to say to one another, they need to do before. Their purpose for being in church is so that in a public or a communal setting, in the house of God, their marriage is being being celebrated and sanctified through the channel of grace, which is the sacramental channel of grace, which is the priest.
And there's the second part. What is the expectation for the in-laws?
Trying to stay out of their lives as much as possible. I mean, I say that. Okay,
stay out. Maybe
I say that in a loving
don't
way.
I think they meant at the wedding.
I thought they meant for their life.
Although that was the first answer that came to my mind too. I have to admit.
In fact.
Oh,
Nope.
second time.
He angered the in-laws. He's running away.
He's running away. That's right. So this is the Orthodox Archdiocese of America has published a premarital guide, which is great. Father Philip Mamalakis, Doctor Philip Mamalakis, who is the pastoral professor of pastoral theology. Wrote this, which is based on John Gottman's book. Very, very good job. It finally gives us as Orthodox priests a format that we can use for premarital counseling. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, and right here on the very first page of this.
The first page.
Well, okay, it's.
Well, if you order this book for an extra $5.99, you can get it connected.
All right. And right here, you can see under item B, can you see that?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay. The church does not support what?
We don't know. Anyone or anything coming between the two of you as a couple.
Okay. And on the next page, look what it says on the next page. Some things that can come between you and the couple. Work parents. Okay, it's right there. It's in our guidebook. And that's not to say that parents have no role whatsoever in the couple's lives. But what the parents, the in-laws, have to understand is that in the marriage, Orthodox marriage vows, they are crowned as the king and queen of their kingdom. And there has to be a recognition that they will run their lives in the way that they see best. And the parents can offer guidance, but they're not gonna behave towards one another as they did, as the parents did. They're possibly not gonna raise their children in the same way. They're not gonna regard their careers in the same way. They're not gonna handle their finances in the same way, and that's okay. And so the parents have to understand that they can serve as mentors and guides, but they cannot impose themselves in terms of how that king and queen will run their kingdom.
All right, very good. All right. Oh, Lord, what Bible would you recommend? The NIV, the King James, the New King James, and on and on and on. So what Bible would you recommend?
Well, okay, so I got to start with the Orthodox Study Bible. Because, again, it's important that your Bible have commentary in it. Okay, and if you are looking for Orthodox commentary, that doesn't mean you're Orthodox, but you want to know, how does Orthodoxy think? Okay, to interpret Scripture, then this the Orthodox Old and New Testament, not just the New Testament one, but this one in particular, gives you the Orthodox perspective on Scripture, on each one of the Scriptures. In terms of translation, me personally, I prefer NIV, New International Version. I like the translation there. There's some areas where, okay, it's not the greatest, but overall I do like that. And then the other one is New Jerusalem Bible. Those are my three kind of go-tos. Mm-hmm. But from a commentary standpoint, I'd have to say it's the Orthodox Study Bible, and if you really want to go full core,
do not slam it.
That's what you got to get. If you want to really get commentary, that's what you got to get.
The New Jerome Biblical Commentary.
There you go. And that's got an Old and New Testament and commentary all the way through. So, okay.
I'll just type it out for everyone. And real quick, we've pretty much come to the end of our show. But there are two more things I do want to cover real quick. Number one, Happy Tales has a follow-up saying that they are getting a second opinion with a specialist, but they feel guilty as this is the first pet that they may lose. Do you have any words of wisdoms or prayer for Happy Tales?
Well, Terry is much more the sympathetic arm of our marriage, so I'm going to let you answer that one. I'm not always best at relating that, so give some sympathetic words here.
Some sympathetic words. Well, I mean, you're doing what you can. I mean, you're getting a second opinion for it. It's a chinchilla. And you're doing what you can. What we do with people, you get a prognosis, you get a second opinion to see if perhaps there is something that can be done. It's a teeth problem that causes tremendous pain, and it suffers. And if there's nothing that can be done, you just realize that for compassion for the animal, it's better to put them down instead of letting them suffer. And if you have to do that, it just, it's just, you're truly doing what's best for the animal.
Yeah, I mean, it is, in the end, in each case, for us, it was the right decision. Mm-hmm. It did not get easier with each, it's not like, oh, well, I went through the first one and now the next one, they were equally hard each time, but we did move on. I mean, we did get a new pet, right?
Well, we moved forward.
Move forward. See,
still miss them.
See, that's why I mean about you're the more compassionate one, because I was like, let's move on, and she's like, no, let's move forward. So.
Yes.
All right, and with that, I thought that we might take a moment to invite our guests back on for a good night.
All right.
1 second, everyone.
All right. Svetlana, welcome back. Part 2. We've got another 2 hours to go.
Lovely.
So yes. So this is part 2 of the show. Demos will be here until what? 12 o'clock tonight?
Oh, I'm usually here until 3, so this is nothing.
This is great. Okay. And you're not leaving until tomorrow, so you got plenty of time. But
You don't need sleep before a flight to another continent. You're fine.
what was the I told I was telling Svetlana that. What was the movie where they said you'll have time to sleep when you're dead? What movie was that?
Oh gosh, I mean, I've heard that line in a couple of different. It is famous from one
I think
movie,
it's
but I
very-
don't remember.
Trying to remember. So
I guess I'm sure I've heard Worf from Star Trek say a variation of.
oh
that,
yeah, probably
but I know
probably
that's not it.
a new.
His big thing was today is a good day to die.
Today is a good day to die. All right.
So, real quick, I was just wondering, like, on this most recent trip, what has been the most surprising or your favorite moment from this trip in America?
From this trip to America.
Yeah, other than meeting this man.
Yeah, for sure. This is the best experience. And I can see you because, right, like people were wondering about you, and I'm one of the first listeners who can actually see you.
Oh boy, have I lived up to expectations? I hope not.
All right, but because you saw the picture. So, do you like long hair Demos, or do you like trim Demos?
You show them.
I showed the
pictures of
picture.
my long hair.
Yeah. I showed you and the UNC and us in front of the Irish pub. So which one do you like better?
Short hair, though.
Short. Oh wow.
Thank
Okay. All right.
It probably helps.
Right.
I've lost 60 pounds since then.
Yes, not that much. I mean, come on.
I also think that New York was also very, very good experience this time, because I've heard a lot of things. People say that after pandemic and it changed a lot, but no, actually no. It's all the same old New York, which I like. Yeah, that was.
But make sure that you go back and you tell people that there is an upstate New York.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what we want you to go
Yes.
back and tell everybody. So
We saw a lot of beautiful places and the Finger Lakes and
It's the
But
Napa
then-
Valley of the East. The
Yes.
best wine you can get.
exactly.
I mean, there was a ton of vineyards that we
Yes.
we got to see, right?
It was really surprising. Yeah, and a lovely place for a summer house. So thank you for your recommendation.
Oh, that's right. She'll be buying a summer house here, so just on the lake.
That means you can be our guest every week, so
Yes,
that works.
exactly.
That's right. She'll be moving into this chair pretty soon. So,
That's fine. I have the bed above the church, so that works.
but again, we really, I think that's a wonderful thing that you took the time. From New York City to come here and to visit us and to spend a little bit of time with us. We are very, very appreciative. And again, it shows what the purpose of this program is that we can see that we are united as Orthodox across the world. I mean, your liturgy is our liturgy, is the liturgy that we see in Colombia, and so on and so forth. And so that body of Christ really, really shows forth, and we really enjoy that. So thank you very, very much for that.
Thank you for having me. I'm really grateful. It was wonderful, wonderful experience.
Okay.
All right. Well, with that, we're done for the evening. But before we close out, don't we have a special guest coming up as well?
So do we announce that?
Well, isn't it for next week or the
28th, 2 weeks.
Oh, we'll tease it out. We'll tease it out tonight.
So we're one of the local priests that is right here with us on East Avenue at St. Paul's Episcopal Church. He's going to be joining us because we're going to be discussing some of the aspects between differences between our two churches. Certainly some of the commonality, as we are also the body of Christ, but looking at some of the differences between the Anglican Episcopal Church and then our Orthodox Church. As many of you know, I am a member of the local interfaith clergy group that's here. We have Catholic priests. We have myself. We have an Episcopal priest, Father Robert. We also have a rabbi, and then we have a Presbyterian and a Unitarian. And so we meet on a monthly basis. And I thought that it would be a nice show to discuss what are some of those similarities and differences between the Anglican Episcopal and then the Orthodox Church, and just have that discussion.
So and there'll be an opportunity for you to ask any questions you're what's the word I'm looking for? You're curious about when it comes to the Episcopal Church. So that program will go on for the first hour will be a conversation. The second half will be questions. So that's in 2 weeks. So get ready.
Yeah.
And for those of you here in Rochester, tomorrow night is our Rock-In, our overnight rock climbing and lock-in event. So if you're interested in attending, please email me. All the information is on the website. And get ready for some rock climbing. Arrive so you can beat Father Angelo to the top.
Yeah, if I can get to the top. So, all right. So I kicked off the show with Dobre Večer. Now you have to tell us good night.
Доброй ночи.
All right. That's good. Okay.
Beautiful. All right. And have a very, very good night, everyone. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.